This is the Everyday AI Show, the everyday podcast where we simplify AI and bring its power to your fingertips. Listen daily for practical advice to boost your career, business, and everyday life.
ChatGPT is cool, but it can't do anything for my business. If you think that, buckle up. Because I know today's show will probably blow your mind if that's your way of thinking. So today we're going to talk about how the combination of ChatGPT and Zapier can put your business on autopilot. All right, welcome. If this is your first time, my name is Jordan Wilson. I'm the host of Everyday AI. We are a daily live stream, podcast, and free daily newsletter helping everyday people learn and leverage AI. So as a reminder, if you are listening on the podcast, please check the show notes. We leave a lot of helpful links there each and every day. If you're joining us live, thank you. Actually, let me know. It's just me today. Normally, we bring on a guest every day, Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. Central Standard Time. We go live. But today it's just me. So sometimes I like to do, really in-depth shows like this. But I also like to shout people out. So who's joining us live? Just go ahead and drop in the comments whether you're joining us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitter. I think it goes a couple other places. But where are you joining us from? I want to shout you out here in a minute. All right. So before we get to what I think is probably going to be one of our best episodes we've ever done here on Everyday AI, and we're almost near 100 episodes. So before we get there, let's talk about what's going on in the world of AI news, something that we do every single day. So Google has just announced that political advertisements must say when they're using AI. So Google is introducing these new rules to essentially combat a lot of disinformation and misinformation coming from political campaigns ahead of the US presidential election, which is only about 14 months away. So these new rules are scheduled to take effect this November. So they will be in effect for a full year. So basically, any advertisements on any of Google's properties will have to disclose if they use generative AI. So kind of in related news, actually, some news coming out of California. So California Governor Gavin Newsom just signed an executive order on AI. So why does that matter, right? We have people tuning in and listening from all over the world, and thank you for that. But here's why. At least right now, the United States is the world leader in generative AI, and California and Silicon Valley are taking the charge. So actually what is coming out of California has implications on the world stage in terms of not just generative AI, but how businesses are run. So this new executive order, essentially, it's a very early step, but it's calling for risk assessment reports to be created across multiple state agencies on how AI could impact California's economy, and also an interesting one here, their energy usage, right? We always think is California being very progressive in terms of energy and climate. But something that we don't talk about a lot is all these generative AI models that are running all the time. They require huge computing power, and that requires a lot of energy. All right, last but not least, it's a jam-packed day for AI news today, by the way. So Apple, right? We're hitting the big ones. We're hitting Google, government, and Apple. So Apple is reportedly spending millions of dollars a day training their new conversational AI. So we've actually talked about this on the show before. We had a dedicated episode just on Apple. But Apple, and this is according to multiple reports that just surfaced, they have a new unit called foundational models. So an entire team of people working on this conversational AI. So we've mentioned their model, believe it's either called Apple GPT or Ajax, but essentially reportedly it is much more powerful than GPT 3.5. So whatever Apple has been working on for months or years is apparently more powerful than the base version of OpenAI's GPT 3.5. And also, they are reportedly developing an image generation model and also researching a multi-model AI. So, wow, a lot going on. A lot going on in the world of AI news. But let's get back to the live show. Who's joining us from where? Thank you. And also, let me know, what are your biggest questions? What are your biggest questions on ChatGPT and Zapier? All right. Now I'm going to explain, what these things are. So don't worry. But go ahead. Let me know. What are your biggest questions? And let's go ahead and shout people out here. I said I would. So Michael, thank you for joining us from New Jersey. All right, cool. Thank you, Michael. Sorry, there we go. All right. Kevin joining us from Atlanta. Hey, Kevin says it's great to see Just Jordan. All right. Will is joining us just from LinkedIn. Thanks for joining us, Will. Minna from Stockholm. Stefan from France. Athena from Nebraska. Val from, I believe, joining us from South America. Brian joining us from Minneapolis. Spark from Atlanta and tuning in on YouTube. Very cool. Robert joining us from Panama. We have so many people. Brian joining us from the Mississippi Gulf Coast. Dr. Harvey Castro joining us from Texas. All right, let's get this going. Good morning from Chicago, Cecilia, me as well. Let's talk about Zapier. All right. Because, well, here's the thing. Before I even, I have some slides. So don't worry if you're listening to this on the podcast. I'm going to do my best to describe what's going on. But even before I bring up, kind of this little slideshow here, I'm going to come with some hot takes. Hot take number one, Zapier is a powerhouse. If your business hasn't been using Zapier for 5 to 10 months, first of all, I don't know why. I don't know why. I've been using Zapier. Zapier is a marketing automation platform. I've been using it myself in different businesses. We've been using it for clients. I'm the CEO of a digital strategy company called Accelerant Agency. We've been using, Zapier for all of our clients. Hot take number one, Zapier is amazing. If you're not using it, you should check it out. They have a pretty generous free plan. And then obviously some paid plans as well. Hot take number two, ChatGPT with plugins right now, I think, is the most underutilized business tool out there, period. Until Microsoft Copilot comes out, I think right now, properly using ChatGPT plugins is probably the most underutilized business tool. All right. So we're going to combine those two things today. And this is an episode I'm extremely excited about. I've been planning this one, on and off for more than a week, or actually a couple weeks now. So let's get going. I'm going to throw up. This slide here, and we're going to get after it. All right. So hit repost right now, please do that. So whether you're joining us from LinkedIn, Twitter, I don't think you can repost anything on YouTube. I've got something special for you, something kind of related to what we're doing today. So if you are finding everyday AI helpful, if this episode is helpful for you, please just go ahead and click that repost button. It helps us it allows us to reach more people and teach more people generative AI. If you're a listener or a watcher, we put out a lot of great value. And I feel that there's so much bad information surrounding generative AI out there, which is why we do this every single day and why we're not charging people and selling, a bunch of subpar products. We want to put out the most high quality educational content on the internet about Gen AI. So please hit that repost. It'll help us. All right. And if you are new, remember, we don't just do this live stream. We also put put this out on podcasts. So usually 30 minutes or so after we wrap up the live stream. So every morning around 8-ish a.m. Central Time, we put this out on podcasts, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. And then also, do any of you guys subscribe to the newsletter? Let me know in the comments if you like the newsletter. We put so much time and effort into the newsletter every single day, not just recapping what we talk about on the live stream, but literally covering everything else that matters to you and your business in the world of generative AI. So make sure you go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for that free daily newsletter. All right. So let's talk Zapier first. And if you haven't already noticed, this one might be a little bit longer of an episode, but I hope you all enjoy it. All right. Let's talk Zapier. So if you haven't used Zapier, let me do the simplest explanation possible. Zapier is a software that I'd say it's the glue of the internet, especially for how a company can operate. So essentially, there's about 6,500 different apps and softwares that you can connect inside Zapier. Okay, it's gonna make a little bit more sense here as we go on. So essentially, in Zapier, you can set anything as triggers and actions. Okay, so kind of the example from Zapier's website that I have on screen here. I'm gonna walk you through it. So let's say, as an example, you are running ads on Facebook and you're running a lead ad to get people to sign up for your product or service. So if you're not using marketing automation like Zapier, there's usually a lot of manual work that goes along with this. Okay. And again, if you are an advanced marketer, and a lot of this might seem as kind of recap for you, this everyday AI is for the everyday person. So some things might be a little fundamental, but I'm trying to help explain this to everyone. So just keep that in mind. All right. So in this example here, you are when you collect a new lead on Facebook, you can essentially create a series of automations inside Zapier to automatically, essentially, you can program Zapier to do different things inside different programs that normally you would do manually along the way. So manually, if you're running Facebook lead ads, a human would go in there into the system, which requires a lot of clicking around because, Facebook and Meta are always changing their interface. And then you're manually copying and pasting all of that data over into your CRM. So in this example, creating a record inside Salesforce. And then that person is going to have to manually take all that information and maybe message the team. In this example, messaging the team in Slack. And then after all that, maybe you have a welcome email sequence that you would always send out to new customers. You would theoretically have to go inside your email marketing software like MailChimp and do that, right? So that's probably either one human doing a lot of different manual tasks, or sometimes it's multiple humans who are in charge of different things, right? So by using Zapier, that's all done for you. You don't have to do a single thing. Every time a new lead comes in, the rest of those processes are automatically triggered, and those actions are all performed on your behalf without having to do a single thing, right? This is why marketing automation is a huge thing, and you have large agencies or large departments that just work in marketing automation. All right, so that is the most basic overview of Zapier that I can give. All right. There's downsides to Zapier. Automations can be very complex to build, right? I mean, we're talking about multi-step zaps. That's what it's called, the zap. Multi-step zaps. You have conditional logic, only sending it down certain paths set on certain condition. You have branching. So the downsides of Zapier is automations can be complex to build. The platform's not very smart either. It's not. Don't get me wrong. I love Zapier, but it's not a smart platform. And it's unintuitive. Yes, I did spell unintuitive wrong. Sometimes on my slides, I like to put in mistakes. I'm going to claim that, just so you know, it's not AI doing this, human spelling errors. All right. So then what is ChatGPT? All right. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this because a lot of you know what ChatGPT is, but essentially ChatGPT is a large language model, And the most advanced version, GPT-4, has 1.8 trillion parameters. So that's essentially ChatGPT is trained on the history of the internet and more. And it has essentially 1.8 trillion connections in its big neural network brain. And ChatGPT can write. So not just write words, it can write code. So it can write, analyze, and also automate. And that's what we're going to get to today. Douglas saying, yes, Zapier is great. I agree. Make sure you get those questions in on Zapier and ChatGPT. I'm going to try my best as I go along to handle your questions. So make sure you get them in. Today's, y'all, if you're just tuning in midway, you didn't miss anything big yet. We're winding it up, but we are talking the power of ChatGPT and Zapier. I'm excited for this. So now that we know what Zapier is and some of the downsides, we know what ChatGPT is. Let's talk about some of the downsides of ChatGPT. There's limited usage. So you only get about 50 messages every 3 hours, and then you hit a cap and you have to essentially wait, right? And if anyone's been in our Prime Prompt Polish, our free PPP program, you know a lot of this. Actually, shout it out if you have been. Okay, some other downsides of ChatGPT: limited functionality. So when we talk about ChatGPT with plugins, I'm going to explain that coming up here. You can only have 3 plugins active per chat. All right. And when we teach people how to create expert chats through PPP, it's a lot of work. It pays off, but it is limited in that regard. And also, even when we talk about plugins, there's more than 1,000 different plugin connections right now inside ChatGPT. However, there is a lack of enterprise apps and software. So that's one of the complaints I hear from people that, talk about wanting to automate their business with ChatGPT plugins is they say, hey, even that example that I showed, Facebook, Slack, MailChimp, unless anything changed in the last couple of days, those 3 are not even available in ChatGPT plugins. So many enterprise level plugins, so many enterprise level apps and softwares are not even on the ChatGPT plugin database, so to speak. So you are already, if you want to automate your business with ChatGPT using plugins, there's already kind of a disadvantage. All right. And you're probably seeing where we're going because the solution on how you can automate your business, and there's so many people doing this. So if you haven't already, let me know why. Hit me up with a DM. Actually share this post. You'll want to share this post. Just trust me on that. All right. So the solution to this is using ChatGPT and Zapier. All right.
Are you still running in circles trying to figure out how to actually grow your business with AI? Maybe your company has been tinkering with large language models for a year or more, but can't really get traction to find ROI on Gen AI. Hey, this is Jordan Wilson, host of this very podcast. Companies like Adobe, Microsoft, and NVIDIA have partnered with us because they trust our expertise in educating the masses around generative AI to get ahead. And some of the most innovative companies in the country hire us to help with their AI strategy and to train hundreds of their employees on how to use Gen AI. So whether you're looking for ChatGPT training for thousands or just need help building your front-end AI strategy, you can partner with us too, just like some of the biggest companies in the world do. Go to youreverydayai.com/partner to get in contact with our team, or you can just click on the partner section of our website. We'll help you stop running in those AI circles and help get your team ahead and build a straight path to ROI on Gen AI.
So, hey, shout out Brian. Brian just said PPP is super helpful. Thank you, Brian. Yeah, just actually, if you're listening and you haven't taken our Prime Prompt Polish PPP course, go ahead and just type PPP. I'll send you the info. It's actually private. We don't list it on the website. You can't find it. So, or if you're listening on the podcast, look in the show notes. There's a way to click and email me, connect with me on LinkedIn. Just say PPP. I'll send the info to you. So let's take a look on ChatGPT and Zapier and the different levels. And I'm going to try my best to explain this if you are listening on the podcast. But essentially, you have here on the left, this green one. That's ChatGPT 3.5. Not really useful, if I'm being honest. Okay. Then you have ChatGPT Plus, which is essentially GPT-4. Extremely useful. Okay. But you still can't talk to any outside entities, apps. You can't really automate anything, even if you're paying for the paid version of ChatGPT Plus, $20 a month. Well worth it, because in the next column, you need plugins. Okay. So then you have ChatGPT Plus with plugins. And then with plugins, you can get around some of the most limiting factors around using a large language model, which is connecting to the internet, feeding ChatGPT your company resources in the form of, PDFs, YouTube videos, whatever it may be. Also, I always have to say this. I should have a button I can push, like never upload confidential or sensitive or proprietary information into ChatGPT. That was me pretending to mimic myself, I guess. Okay, so then you have the ChatGPT Plus with plugins. Extremely powerful. One of the limitations I talked about is you can only have 3 plugins active. However, if you use one of those 3 plugin spots for each chat, each chat you can have 3 different plugins. All the way here on the right, this is the most powerful setup that you can have right now in all of generative AI. I don't care what anyone else says. It is. This is more powerful than, any of Meta's, models. They're open source large language models. This is more powerful than Google Bard. This is more powerful than Midjourney. What you have here on the right-hand side, which is ChatGPT Plus with plugins, with one of those plugins being Zapier. That is the most powerful. I'm repeating this. That is the most powerful combination that you have in generative AI today, by far, period. All right. I've been using the GPT technology for, let me do the math here, 2.5 years, since 2020, since it came out commercially. And I've used hundreds of different generative AI apps, softwares, and this is by far the most powerful setup. And that's what we're going to be talking about. It's going to be a longer one. I believe someone may have asked me last night for an hour long. I don't think we're going to go there, but let's keep going. So I'm going to go ahead and skip to the end. And I'm going to give you 2 examples. And we're going to try to do this live. All right. We're going to try to do this live. I like to do things live to show you how easy it is. All right. So give me a second here. Let me share my screen. Don't worry. I'm going to try my best to connect or to explain what's going on my screen, as long as my old slow computer doesn't blow up. All right. Here we go. So, all right. I am inside ChatGPT. I'm going to go ahead and hit enter on this, and I'm going to explain what's going on as we go. So one thing that you can do, which is great with ChatGPT and the Zapier plugin that people don't know, is you can build Zaps inside ChatGPT with a conversational nature, which is huge, right? Because sometimes I talked about, you can do all these advanced multi-step Zaps. And obviously look at this here, y'all. I just did this 30 minutes ago, and now we're getting an error. So let's go ahead and try to regenerate that. So you can use ChatGPT to build out complex Zaps with natural language, where before, I remember 5, 6, 7 years ago, trying to build out these Zaps. It would take hours sometimes, hours to configure a single Zap if it was somewhat complex. But now, let's hope this works. There we go. Perfect. So in this example, I'm saying, please help me create a conditional logic Zap. I'd like for people who use my Book Like a Boss scheduling system. So that's how I schedule guests on the Everyday AI show. So I'd like them to be sent an email from my Gmail, and then to also post a preview on my WordPress site, right? So this is multiple things that I want Zapier to do for me. But I say, however, I want this condition in the Zap. Only send the email and post the preview on my WordPress website if the guest selects a date in the next 30 days. Please help me create the Zap. All right, so I scroll down and you'll see ChatGPT setting this up for me. It has the trigger. It has the filter. it has the action, both actions in there. So now all I have to do is click this to confirm it and create the Zap. All right. So I'm going to click that. I'm going to share this. And the first time you set this up, you do have to do a little configuring, right? But it does the bulk of the work for you. You can see right here on my screen. And if you can't, we have the trigger from Book Like a Boss, which is my booking system. And then you have the conditional logic piece right there inside Zapier. Only continue if the appointment date is within the next 30 days. And then you have send an email to the guest inside my Gmail. And then you have create a preview post on my WordPress website. So I obviously have to go through one time and configure this step by step. I have to say, okay, here's what I want the post to say. Here's what I want the email to say. But you just see what happened right there. That right there saved. If you're new to Zapier or if you don't use it a lot, that could have saved you an hour, maybe 2 hours, right? You still have to go through and configure a couple things, but that's extremely powerful. All right. So let's do the next one. Let's do something a little simpler. All right. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm a little zoomed in here on my ChatGPT. I'm going to try to explain what's going on. All right. So I just hit enter. And what's also important to note is I have another plugin active aside from Zapier. I have one of my favorite plugins called Browser Up. Okay. So I just said, write me a short and engaging bullet point recap of this article. And I leave a URL to a recent podcast that I did with the president of Digital Marketer, Mark DeGrasse. And I left the link there. So I'm saying, hey, based on this content that I created, write me a brand new article and title it 5 Marketing Secrets. Then create a Zap link to copy that content and publish it to Medium without using any additional services or apps aside from Zapier, ChatGPT, and Medium. That's a little advanced thing right there, because sometimes this is in beta, and sometimes the ChatGPT Zapier combination will go a little off the rails. So that's just a little extra guidance. So you'll see here, I'm looking what ChatGPT is doing. It used Browser Op, and I can click that. So it went on that website. It read everything on that website. It wrote 5 marketing secrets based on what we talked about. Pretty amazing, right? Then it says, now I'll create a Zap to copy this content and publish it to Medium. So I've already connected my Medium account, but you can publish to anything, right? You can publish to Medium, WordPress, Tumblr, Google Docs, right? Within Zapier, it's endless. I wanted to show you something that can hopefully work right away. So it says, please, so it's done. It says, please click here to review and confirm the publication on Medium. So I'm going to go ahead and click this, and I'm going to share this tab. And this is a different interface than the normal Zapier. So this is essentially the OpenAI Zapier interface. So if you have something that doesn't require building those multiple steps, like on the first example, it's going to go to a page like this, where essentially I can preview everything before I hit submit. But literally all I have to do, I click one thing, I click run. All right. And it says action run. So let's go ahead. And I'm going to go into my Medium here. And there it is. Just like that. The 5 marketing secrets that I just asked it to write. All right. I'm going to take a pause here, because is anyone else blown away by what technology can do right now? Do you understand? You can do this at scale, all within ChatGPT, all without really ever leaving, aside from clicking one button to confirm. You can connect within ChatGPT plugins and Zapier, the entirety of the internet's services, apps, and you can run an entire business. That was one small example of something that I did. It's small, but it's powerful, right? It's small, but it's powerful. Are y'all like, is anyone else scratching their head right now? Is it just me saying, Wow. Right? Uh, LinkedIn automation. Yeah, you can. It's against the rules. Nadia asking, what plugin are you using in the demo? Great question. So I was using the Zapier plugin as well as the browser up plugin. I have tested every single plugin that is connected to the internet across what I deem to be the 5 most important things in an internet plugin. And browser op is one of my 2 favorite internet connected plugins. Yes, Dr. Muthana says, oh, that's a neat feature indeed. Yeah, this is amazing. Brian just said, mind blown emoji. Do y'all understand that that's so simple? That's one example. But that's a lot of people's jobs is creating new content based on other things and then publishing it. So we're taking it a step further. Okay. So I just showed you those 2 examples. So you probably already know why you might want to combine Zapier and ChatGPT, but if those 2 examples didn't do it for you, let me go ahead and spell it out. Okay. With Zapier, there's pros and cons to each. With Zapier, the big pro is you can automate anything. The big con is you cannot create. In ChatGPT, the big pro is you can create anything, but the big con is there's limited automation with the plugins, right? There's not a lot of enterprise plugins. It's not where businesses do work, right? In the beginning, when I said, oh, ChatGPT is cool, but can it do anything for my business? Now it can, right? When you set up this now, this little Venn diagram, you have Zapier's main skill or main power is automation. And then you have ChatGPT's main power or skill, which is creation. When you combine those 2 and you have this green zone in the middle, that is the ability to automate and run your business at scale in one place with one click that we've never had before. Right, guys, again, maybe I'm the only one that's as blown away. And I think the plugin feature and plugin packs, that's what we teach in our PPP course, the Prime Prompt Polish course. It is so underutilized because I don't think that the majority of people out there, even smart marketers, smart advertisers, smart automation experts, don't fully understand what you can accomplish just within ChatGPT plugins alone, let alone when you tap into Zapier like this. There's very few things that you cannot do when you combine Zapier inside ChatGPT. It can save hours a day. This isn't one of those pieces of hyperbole where I share a bunch of regurgitated kind of garbage prompts and say, these are going to save you 50 hours a week. No, this is how business gets done, y'all. This is how business gets done. I'm showing you all, right? Let's keep going. So why would you want to use them together? First, you have to understand ChatGPT plugin packs. Like I mentioned, we teach this in our course. The pro course is coming soon, y'all. I've dropped the ball. I keep adding more and more to it. So we have a free Prime Prompt Polish course. And then we also have a free pro version that I keep adding more and more to because things keep changing. Like there is no code interpreter anymore. It's called something else. New features are getting added and deleted every day. I promise the pro course is coming soon. So yes, like Nadia said, this is how you scale. Yes, this is how you scale. So let's first understand what you can do with a plugin pack. Very quick example. And y'all, if you're if maybe you're watching on YouTube or on your phone, maybe this is now where you sit in front of a computer. Or if you're listening on the podcast, this is where you hit pause and you go in the show notes and you say, all right, I'm going to pick it up. I'm going to pick up the video from here. Okay? Because I'm going to do my best to describe this, but there's a lot going on under the hood. This is something that we talk about inside our pro PPP training. Again, it's free, but we talk about different plugin packs. So this one that I'm going to quickly explain is called WCI or Web Copy Images. Okay. So essentially This is what I used to do. I was a journalist, right? I would have to create articles. I would spend so many hours. A lot of time, though, yes, I'm interviewing original sources, but 90% of the work is reading things on the internet. When you create new content, even if you're, if you're in marketing, if you're in advertising, so much of what people do is they read content on the internet. They essentially rewrite what's important to them and they make tweaks, get some images, and they throw it up online, right? So WCI is a plugin pack combining 3 different plugins inside ChatGPT that does this for you, right? Who's this for? It's for anyone. Anyone can use this genius tactic, WCI, whether you're a content writer, a digital marketer, PR specialist, e-commerce manager, in advertising, it doesn't matter. If you're creating content for the internet, you can use this plugin pack that we call WCI. There's a reason, don't worry, I'm getting to it. There's a reason we're talking about this while we're talking about Zapier. So here's what happens. And I have videos on our YouTube channel that shows this all live. This isn't made up, but in one prompt, it's color coded. I'm not going to go through it. But essentially, by connecting these different plugins and being very strategic about it, in one prompt, you can research and read multiple different articles. So in this example, I'm assuming the role of a blogger writing about the best places to visit in Chicago. So I can say, hey, ChatGPT, here's 10 different articles. Read these, summarize it in this way, put my own spin on it. So with plugins, there's a plugin that's reading all these different articles. It's spitting it out. Then I'm using, in this example, an SEO plugin. I'm saying, hey, I want this content to rank high in search engines. So it's creating a keyword list. And then it's also updating that content using the SEO keyword list. And then in the end, it's creating a document and an image generation plugin, an AI image generation plugin. I don't know if you can everyone grasp what's going on here? It's wild. This is people's jobs that it's being done in seconds if you know how to use plugin packs. And then in the end, you're getting a full-blown article with AI generated images in seconds. This would usually take hours or multiple days for one person to do it properly. In seconds by using a plugin pack. Okay, we're giving ChatGPT superpowers. However, there's a downside. At the end of this, we still have a lot of manual work to do to get that. We essentially have different outputs. We have all this text that we're going to need to copy and paste and format, and we're going to need to put it somewhere. And then we have all these images, and we're going to have to do the same thing. So this is what happens. I talked about all these manual tasks to get the blog live, but what happens then if you swap out just one of those 3 plugins and put Zapier in? When we're working in our green zone, which is the sweet spot between automation and creation. Okay. So in this example, I just said, all right, we're going to take out the SEO plugin because again, you can only have max of 3. So we're having the browser plugin in step 1, still read all those different articles. And we can still tell it in the prompt, create an SEO optimized across these things, right? We can use your brain as well. And then we're getting a fully researched and optimized article with photos as well. And then with one click inside Zapier, if you take out just one plugin or make sure one of your 3 plugins is always Zapier, do you see what's happening now? Now one click and it's all live. I don't have to copy, paste, reformat, go into, 3-4 different programs. Nope. You have to set it up once, one click, and it's live. That is that green zone, right? In our little Venn diagram there, that perfect spot between automation and creation. Zapier doesn't create. ChatGPT is not great at automating. When you combine the two, that is when ChatGPT and the power of generative AI is on full display. Is anyone out there still thinking, if you made it this far, is anyone else out there still thinking, oh, ChatGPT can't do much for my business? Y'all, we've developed more than a dozen high-quality, high-performing plugin packs. And when you throw Zapier into the mix, there's very few. If you work in front of a computer, there's very few tasks just with this setup. With 2 other plugins plus Zapier, there's very few tasks that it can't automate and create 95% of the way in seconds instead of hours and days, in seconds. You still think ChatGPT can't do anything for your business? I'm showing you guys here. I hope you guys are finding this valuable. I hope you are. Maybrit saying this episode is giving me new ideas. Woozy, shout out Woozy. What's up, Woozy? Oh, Woozy, I hope this one's a Woozy. He says, great info. Sorry, I really had to force that joke in there. Nadia saying she loves it. Yes, like what Harvey is saying here. If you want to create a Zap, consider using ChatGPT Zapier plugin to help you create the Zap, right? That's how I started the show. If you're not a Zapier expert or if you haven't used it before, I showed you that live, right? You can just talk to ChatGPT and say, here's what I want Zapier to do. And you saw it created a 4-step conditional logic Zap for me. I still had to go in there and, put in a little bit of information, but it did 80% of the heavy lifting for me, right? Guys, am I the only one excited? Maybe I'm a dork. Maybe it's my background of scaling and building businesses and working in marketing, advertising, communications. And I've been using Zapier for more than 10 years. I've been using the GPT technology since 2020. I've been using plugins since the day they came out. Y'all, this is extremely powerful way to help automate and scale just about any business. So you guys already know what the result is. It is creation, automation, and publication, all from within one platform. One. Wow. I hope this was a helpful episode. There's a lot of comments. I'm going to make sure real quick to get to a couple of these comments as we wrap up. So Doug is just asking, does anyone know anyone with the new ChatGPT Enterprise? Is the data more secure with confidential data? Great question, Douglas. I've reached out to OpenAI many times. I don't have it yet. I applied for it. If you're unaware of the news, ChatGPT or OpenAI announced an enterprise version about a week and a half ago. We covered it on the show. I think it'll be a game changer. But yes, it is more. It gives you a little bit more options in terms of protecting your data, keeping some things local, not sharing certain information. I don't know anyone else yet, Doug, aside from I think I've seen some random things online, but yeah, I'm excited to get my hands on ChatGPT Enterprise. So if you're listening on the podcast, because I'm always kind of shocked, I'll get emails from people from IBM, from Google, from Apple saying, hey, I listened to your podcast. So if someone out there does have that ChatGPT Enterprise, or, if you're watching live right now, let me know. I'd love to get my hands in, see, get my hands dirty, see what it looks like. All right. I think we got to most of the questions. I didn't want to drag this on too long. I'll take 40 some minutes as a huge win. Nadia says she's super excited. Dr. Harvey Castro says, amazing. Woozy saying great stuff as always. Thank you all. So if this was helpful, do me a favor. Click that repost button on LinkedIn. I've got something special. If you're still listening on the podcast, go ahead. Just click the show notes. We leave all these links in there. Go share this post on LinkedIn, on Twitter. I'm going to reach out to everyone that does. I've got a little something special for you related to this, related to automating your business with generative AI. All right. I hope this was helpful, y'all. As a reminder, please go to youreverydayai.com. All right. Sign up for that free daily newsletter. We put a lot of work into it. You saw people here in the comments said it was great. I think it's great too. So every single day we recap what we talked about on the live stream. It's usually not just me. We have great experts. Tomorrow, we have an HR leader from IBM coming on to talk about generative AI and HR, which I'm extremely excited about. But go ahead, go to youreverydayai.com, sign up for the free daily newsletter. If you can't join us live on the live stream every day, or if you can't catch us on the podcast, or maybe you do catch us, you catch the show, still open and read that newsletter. Not only do we recap and go much more in depth on the topic that we talk about each day, but we cover just about everything else that's consequential for your business, your career in the newsletter. So other pieces of AI news, other AI softwares, tools, techniques. We do daily tutorials, just about every single thing that the everyday person needs to not just learn AI, but how to leverage it. All right, this was a marathon episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again tomorrow and every day for more Everyday AI. Thanks, y'all.
And that's a wrap for today's edition of Everyday AI. Thanks for joining us. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a rating. It helps keep us going. For a little more AI magic, visit youreverydayai.com and sign up to our daily newsletter so you don't get left behind. Go break some barriers, and we'll see you next time.